Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fifth session of our Audio Insight Safe and Sound series. I'm Adom Yusuf, the Senior Manager for Standards and Technology at the Security Industry Association, and I will be your host. Today, we will be discussing business opportunities in audio. To help with this discussion, I would like to introduce my three guests. Dan Rothrock, President of the Americas Safety and Security at Zenitel, Stephen McCory, Sales Director at Virtual Guarding, and Chris Wildfoerster, Program Manager for Network Audio at Axis Communications. To kick things off, I'll turn it over to our panelists to share a little bit about themselves.
I'll kick it off. Thanks, Adam. Hi, my name is Chris Wildfoerster. I'm Program Manager for Audio for Axis Communications. I've been with Axis Communications about 6 years, and in the low voltage and controls and automation industry for about 30 years. And if you ask a few people, that's probably been about 29 too long. What's exciting about this is the opportunity to really talk about expanding the marketplace for SIA members and the benefits that audio has to offer them as well as their clients when putting together a safer and smarter world.
And I'm Dan Rothrock, President of Zenitel for the Americas. Adom, thank you for hosting this part of Safe and Sound series today. My background is similar to Chris's. It's definitely in audio. Think a beginning of my career in high-end stereo stores to working for high-end speaker manufacturers and then being a rep for a number of major audio companies. If you would think large sporting venues like NFL stadiums or concerts like the Aries Tour, that's the kind of thing that I did. And then with Zenitel, the focus is on voice communication and allowing people to hear, be heard, and be understood in virtually any environment. So just like Chris said, I'm very excited about expanding the audio industry in our security segment.
Hey everybody, my name is Stephen, Sales Director of Virtual Guarding. I've been in the security industry for about 15 years now. I work for several national integrators, and now I have the opportunity as a manufacturer with Virtual Guarding, where we're able to use audio to proactively deter crime before those crimes are fully enacted. So happy to speak a little bit to what I know about audio and AI analytics and how that can be a best application for any SIA member, end user, and or client alike. So thank you for having me.
Thank you all for the introduction. Our first question will be for Dan. Security professionals traditionally have focused on surveillance and safety for their clients. How does audio enhance a traditional security system? Can you provide a specific application?
So if we look at that question, we could spend our entire time just going over this one piece. And I know all three of us would have something to add to it. So let me give kind of an umbrella answer to that. First of all, speed of response is one of the things that audio is going to add into a security system. The other thing is it's going to make it a holistically balanced system. For ages, the security world has said, if you see something, say something. And we're all encouraged to do that in a live setting. But what about a security center? Or like Stephen said, what about stopping something before it happens? Without an audio system, you can't say something. You could see it, but you can't say something. So adding audio allows you to put voice with everything. And for the first time, allows a security system to become interactive. So what do? We enhance detection. We enhance real-time alerts. We speed up a response, which is so critical in security. Audio components can detect sounds that visual systems might miss. Glass breaking, footsteps, voices. You have an additional layer of detection for unusual sounds, which allows security people to respond faster to potential threats. Deterrence, like Stephen mentioned earlier. When you have the presence of audio, you can act as a deterrent because you can see something And then you can let that person know that you're watching them, let them know that security is on the way, let them know that something's has already been enacted to stop their actions. That will mitigate, in many cases, a crime before it happens, and it'll deter something from ever taking place. The other thing is evidence collection. Audio recordings can provide really valuable evidence during investigations. Remote monitoring, I'll let that kind of go because I think Stephen's going to touch on that probably with some AI input. But then the integration with AI is also something that's coming and growing, so we can analyze patterns, specific sounds, specific behaviors that can all be triggering an audio device and opening up a communication. And one of the things I like to remind people is a camera can see something, but it can't see around a corner. And an audio device placed out in the field can hear in 360 degrees. So it picks up things that might be missed in a video. To give you a quick example, I was at our new terminal in Kansas City waiting for my Uber to take me home from a business trip, and there was a backpack laying there right where you do the Uber pickup. I don't know about you, but it makes me very uncomfortable when there's an unattended bag out in the open. I look around, there's no security officer to share that information with. So I look a little further, and one of our blue light boxes is there. I walk down to it, push the button. I'm in contact with the Kansas City Airport Police. They identify my location automatically because of where the call's coming from. Camera that's associated with the audio device picks me up. I tell them what the problem is. They swing the camera over to the backpack, and they instantly dispatch somebody. Something that would have never taken place when I said, if you see something, say something. If there wasn't a way of communicating, that backpack would have laid there. And it could have been something bad that took place or something that was nothing, somebody just left their backpack. The audio enables you to be interactive. So there's an example of how it's used differently.
Great. Thank you so much, Dan. Moving on to the next question for Stephen. How can integrating audio and AI enhance the effectiveness and engagement of my everyday announcements and event-based mass communication from a business perspective?
Absolutely. So with virtual guarding, we utilize several audio capabilities. One of those is combining AI analytics with the audio system that's existing or adding to it, where we can immediately issue real-time audio messaging or talk-down capabilities. So audio messaging would start to be enabled where you have a pre-recorded message that is to the client's specifications that can automatically be played in the event of loitering, or if someone is not supposed to be on a particular premise or property at a particular hour, or even activity, such as smoking, extinguish your activity, are some examples of pre-recorded messaging that we've deployed. Outside of that, we also use TalkDown, where we can deter in real time and have, with SIP capabilities, have that means to actively deter in real time, have that two-way conversation where we can prevent, catalytic converter theft, any kind of property deformation. We're able to deter in real time and get people out of sight and then out of mind. Just get them off the property where they don't belong. We use it for construction site monitoring, where we're able to use TalkDown to tell construction site workers, hey, make sure you have all your PPE gear on. Have to have that full arrest system on. You have to have the hard hats on. Otherwise you're, an OSHA violation right now. We use these capabilities also for combined with other sensor technologies, just like Dan was saying, we can use it for remote door and gate opening, where we can then use the audio to say gate 3 is now open, please proceed, through an access control point, for example. We also use audio as a component within our system for situational awareness and response. We can provide any kind of emergency management details or instructions in the event of any emergency. So these are key critical details that are important for any business, institution, and or facility. So, sirens, any kind of audio output and relay that we have within our platform, it makes all that difference at the end of the day. And it's something tangible, like it's an action that the end user and the people are audio aware of somebody who is actually proactively monitoring the system, the devices, and can utilize the system in place in a proactive manner. So it's not just a still system. It's not, when you walk into an institution and you see all these devices and, you have cameras and, well, what are the cameras connected to? The cameras can be remotely monitored where our operators utilize those audio outputs to then actually create an action and for the positive response to protect people, places, and facilities.
Thank you, Stephen, for your insight. Next, I would like to ask Chris a question. If my firm specializes in providing security solutions, implementing video, access control, VMS, etc., what's required for me to propose, sell, and install an audio system?
Thanks, Adam. That's a very relevant question. I think most of us deal with day in and day out. We have our existing security channel that's very competent on putting security systems in and complementary systems to go with that. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to audio, it's like another world, right? So the exciting part about this to me is really opening security dealers' eyes into the opportunities that are out there. Because we all sell what we know, right? And at the end of the day, when we're offering audio to our existing channel partners, right, we're expanding the business into new technology and sales. So the idea behind that is we want to build up confidence and make them competent, right, putting systems in. We all sell what we know. We're comfortable putting cameras in or VMS or guarded systems or intercom systems, whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, they need to build up their business slowly and so they can become competent and confident. Maybe it's simply put, like Stephen said earlier, maybe you have a camera, you have a horn underneath the camera that's triggered by a perimeter defender analytic, right? Hey, get out of here. You're not supposed to be here, right? Maybe something as simple as that. But from a business perspective, you also kind of want to look at your client base, right? Who are you selling to today, and do they need audio systems? At the end of the day, I'd be extremely surprised if you found a company that wasn't using audio, whether it's for PA, mass communications, audio for security, whatever it might be. Whether it's retail, education, critical infrastructure, hospitality, we all know the 7 verticals out there. And you're already at that customer. You're installing cameras, you're installing security systems, and you're putting those on the network. We're talking network IP devices here. So at the end of the day, why not just add another network device on that infrastructure, right? And you also want to think about it from a business perspective, from a revenue generator. Right? You think about cameras, the camera to speaker ratio, depending on the application, you're going to sell 5 to 7 speakers versus cameras. How is that going to increase your revenue? And also, more importantly, increase your importance to that client. Now you're not just hanging and banging cameras, right? As a security firm, now you're becoming really part of their infrastructure and offering a complete solution. So that's key. So once you get that all settled, right, then let's look at how you partner with an audio specialist, right, with an audio manufacturer. So you want to make sure you're working with a company that offers a complete portfolio of audio products. Again, we focus on network audio, which is IP audio. We don't do anything analog. And we want to make sure that those products being on the network, they interact with other systems within that facility, right? So now it becomes an IoT device. When you think about analog audio systems, a lot of the times they're kind of siloed, right? Here's what it does public announcement or whatever. But when you think about network solutions, right, it's all in the network, and it all works together, as Dan mentioned earlier, how it all becomes a complete system and really part of the building management system. So next step to me is you really want to train your sales staff, right? You want to talk about, okay, how do we position audio within a sale, number one. Number two is what's the actual applications, right? We all get away from that selling products, pieces, and parts thing. We want to talk about what's the application. Is it PA? Is it mass notifications? Is it mass communications? Is it paging? What exactly is the use of what you're going to use the product for? So we talk about training and certification. There are some certifications out there you can get from AVIXA, which is a CTS, which is, I always get this wrong, but let me get it right, Certified Technology Specialist. Right, there's a CTS that they offer there, which is more of a pro AV multimedia type license versus a distributed audio PA type license or certification, I should say. You also want to check local laws, right? If you're putting an analog system in 70 volt, 24 volt, 25 volt, you want to look at the existing laws to see if there are additional certifications or requirements. Does it have to be in conduit, right? What kind of wire do you need to use? Things like that. Again, with network audio, it's a little easier because you're using category cable. Right, it's a network audio device, so there aren't many certifications there. As far as training goes, when we look at the different manufacturers, then any manufacturer worth their salt, is going to offer training, right, and offer certification programs, much like I'm sure Dan's company, our company, offer different audio certification courses. You also want to look at different associations, right? SIA obviously is an important association to us, and obviously is hosting this call. But there are other audio-based associations, such as NSCA, National Systems Contractor Association, and also AVIXA, right? You want to look at those two associations if you're talking about audio, as well as SIA, obviously. And you want to, when you're putting systems together, finally, when you think about a manufacturer you're working with, make sure those manufacturers offer local support, right? On-site support. This is new. This is new business. So there's going to be some stumbling along the way, but make sure that manufacturer is going to be there to really hold your hand and help you be successful. We want to see you be successful. You're successful, we're successful. So it's not like, okay, go do audio and then we kind of leave you out there hanging, right? We're gonna walk you. We're going to walk the walk and talk the talk, as we say, right? You want to make sure you have pre and post sales support. So you want to make sure that you're there at the beginning of the sale and also have the support after the sale if there's any questions or problems. You want to make sure you offer complementary design services, right? Whether it's an online tool or whether it's something that an FSE can basically design the system for you to help you go in and be successful selling this. And you want to make sure you have a complete portfolio of products. And again, look for white papers. There's a ton of information there on how to design public address or PA systems or mass notification systems, right? Plug that in your search bar and you'll see a plethora of products come up that'll direct you in the right direction. And finally, work with SIA and NSCA and AVIXA and get some white papers out there that'll give you more direction and help you be more successful.
Thank you, Chris. Lastly, I wanted to ask the group a final question. Integration is always a topic of discussion in the security industry. What role does it play in voice communication and audio?
Well, I'll kick it off here. I think, Dan, you said it before, right? You see something, say something, right? We say see it, say it, do it. See it with video, right? Say it with audio, do it with analytics, right? Again, Stephen, tying into what you said. That's the whole key out there is really when you think about adding audio, it adds another dimension to a security system, right? Not only does it, it turns a security system really from more of a reactive forensic type solution, right? Into a more, Stephen, as you said before, and I think Dan, you alluded to it, well, it really makes it more of a proactive deterrence. We're in the camera business, right? There's a million cameras out there and they're ubiquitous. Nobody even knows if they're working, if they're pointing in the right direction, what the resolution is, and you can go on and on and on. But at the end of the day, when you have that speaker coming down saying, hey, you in the red jacket, stop tagging that school, that sends a message, right home saying, hey, you are under surveillance, you're being watched, and law enforcement has been notified. So really, it completes the package in my mind.
I completely agree, Chris. So one of the things I do, at least here with virtual guarding, is I partner with other manufacturers to create that entire solution for them using the audio, whether if it's a horn, a speaker, a PA system. I want to be able to have that full suite of options and also build out the solution brief showing how virtual guarding's AI analytics work with these products. This way, I'm able to help support the channel market and the value-added reselling sellers within the industry, providing these holistic systems that are, it's really a joint collaboration. You know, we're all SIA members, whether if you're a systems integrator, a manufacturer, a distribution channel. You know, we're all here to help support each other, and having that integration, knowing how all the parts and pieces work on within an audio component and the various protocols, and being able to provide various systems to a whole range of clients. You know, one client may want, you know, a specific make and model. Well, how can we work with those parameters and make it happen for them and deliver? So working with the resources as, you know, within our security ecosystem really makes the difference, and integration is key for all of our success.
Integration is so important in the security world. Chris touched on it, Stephen kind of hammered it home. But when we look at integration, I can go back with a number of major access control companies that their first integration they ever wrote was to our audio product, which speaks volumes to the importance of adding audio to security. Chris said it again, it changes the whole system from being a reactive system to a proactive system to an interactive system when you can talk back and forth and have that communication. So it's imperative. The one thing I would say about integrations and having done the integration portion for so long, people will call up and just quickly ask you, do you have an integration to this access control company or this video management system? As soon as you say yes, it's almost like, okay, I checked the box and I can hang up now and move on. It's imperative that you check with the company that you're working with, how dedicated are they to integrations? Do they upgrade and certify every time your partner moves up in a software version upgrade? Do they certify again? To make sure that nothing comes undone that was working in the previous integration. The other thing is integration by itself is a loose-ended word. It doesn't tell you what it does or how it integrates or the feature function set that it triggers.
Yep.
When you see something in a camera, the camera analytic may be set up for trespassing. That's great. Now, does the audio system interact with that so that when the camera sees a trespassing event, the audio system can, with a preset message, say, excuse me, you're trespassing, you need to move on. So make sure that the feature function set that you want is on. Just because a camera system does something doesn't mean the audio system does it. Just because the audio system does it doesn't mean the video system does. Make sure that those systems are talking together. But integration and bringing everything together on a single platform is absolutely imperative if you're going to have a holistic security system.
And if I could add one note here, I meant to say this before, but it slipped my mind. You know, when you look at the actual market out there and you look at the communications, public address and communications, as well as mass notification, you're looking at a CAGR somewhere of about 30 to 35% over the next 10 years, right? So from a revenue perspective, the business is there, not just from a hardware software perspective, from an RMR perspective as well, right? You know, the growth is there, the revenue opportunity is there. It's just a question of, you know, are you ready to take advantage of it?
And just one last statement. The purpose of the audio committee that SIA has put in place is to help this business grow for the members. If anything in this presentation has triggered a thought or a question, anybody that's on the committee, anybody that's online today is more than willing to help and to answer questions.
Good point. Good point.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you all for this discussion. Stay tuned for our next Audio Insights Safe and Sound series. Please let us know if you have any questions in the comments below. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.